flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First on our agenda this evening is Adam Gourley, property in Pulaski.
So I've got, my parents own some property. It used to be the old bridge that led from 190 Alaska and vacant years. Looking to see who owns it or trying to find some information.
Good. We asked Teresa to do some research for us.
In the plat books, that it was never deeded back to the owners after the bridge was taken out. So currently there really is no owner. It's just vacant ground or just, so we've had people in the past that have wanted to, when situations like that or an alley, vacate an alley, the properties, they have a survey done. And then normally, like you had talked about, half the property goes to the one landowner and half of it goes to the other. But there would need to be a process with your attorney or and with our attorney.
Okay, so would there be any way of just purchasing then that? Instead of trying to get it deeded back, go in, get it surveyed, talk to your attorney, put a price on it, buy it?
So we'd have to, I would assume, we'll talk to our attorney, but it would have to go through an appraisal.
Right.
We'll speak with our attorney about that. And we suggest that you talk to an attorney as well. They could get together and we work with Mr. Ayler determining the process.
Okay.
Okay? Have you talked to the current adjacent owners?
So the landowners to the south are my parents, and then the ones to the north, I'm unable to. I have been trying to contact them.
Who owns it?
Maloney's?
Maloney? I know the Maloney. They've been out down here.
It's Martin and John Maloney.
Maloney. You remember? They used to farm right south, but I am.
Well, and then last I heard,
I doubt they're alive.
that's what I heard. One of them passed away, and then it got deeded to, or their children took over. And I've tried contacting them. I've had a realtor actually try contacting, reaching out to them, and no answer. Unsuccessful.
Has anything been mailed to that address?
No, we haven't mailed anything to that
Okay.
address. Which that can definitely be done.
Right. I would assume the attorney might want that to happen, that they would be notified through mail.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess get with your attorney, see the process that he would like. And
Our
then,
attorney, but you will seek.
yeah, I'll see counsel as well, definitely. And then I'll be looking forward to hearing from him and kind of
Well, you could communicate with the auditor's office.
auditor's
We'll
office.
ask our attorney to look at the legal process. Go through that. Mr. Ayler's unable to be here tonight for a family.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But yes, we'll get with him. Communicate with the auditor's office, things.
Okay, what would be a good time to do that? Week?
Probably
Maybe-
back,
Okay. All right, that's all I
right?
need.
Thank you.
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Natasha?
Hello, good afternoon. Mr. Mike McClure had asked me, pending our last meeting, what it would cost to put an oxygen tank lift in our current 2025 ambulance. I did obtain a quote. and that comes back to $6,464.16.
6,000 what?
$6,464.16.
You asking a recommendation? Recommend that? It would sure make a difference in safety.
It would be an additional that we would have to ask for.
So what she'll need to do, she's already on the agenda for next week's joint meeting, and she'll want to talk to council about if she's go before them.
I think I would be very beneficial for your workers. What we saw, it definitely is a safety hazard without one. Thank you.
Thank you, Natasha.
Thank you.
Jennifer, did you have anything?
No, not this evening. I would like to wait for our attorney, Mr. Ayler, to be here so that I can ask council's opinion.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Under other business, approve and sign. We've been provided the claims and payroll number 7. Do you have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve claims and payroll number 7.
Got a motion and a second to approve the claims and payroll number 7. Is there any discussion? Being none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Minutes from March the 17th, 2025 regular session were presented to us. We have a motion to accept the minutes. I'll second that. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Being none, those in favor of approving the minutes from March 17th, 2025, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. W.T.H. Electronic Map Data Application Agreement.
So what this is they had a request from Arcadius US for, it's a consulting engineering company that is wanting some information. And so W.T.H. is our GIS provider. And they are, so what they do is they charge, because they do want this information. They're asking if you would like to give them the information, and they will collect a fee and then give us most of it back because of it being our information. They're wanting mainly, it's mainly, because I had talked to Steve at W.T.H. He said it's mainly the information. Anybody can get off the GIS, but they're actually just wanting somebody to conglomerate it for them so that they don't have to do work. Pretty much what it is.
Any questions?
Oh, can we ask what it's regarding, or is that not, you're not privy to that?
It really, it talks about an electrician or electric transmission client is what it's saying. I can pass this to you. That's what I got.
You emailed this.
I did.
Is it mainly for?
No. Yeah.
We have a motion to accept W.T.H. Electronic Map Data Application Agreement.
I'll make a motion to accept the W.T.H. Mapping agreement.
We have a motion and a second to approve the W.T.H. Electronic Map Data Application Agreement. Is there any further discussion? Being none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Next, we have the acceptable use policy. Back in January, I believe we approved an acceptable use policy.
Mhm.
And then rowing, the one that was provided was left over from previous administration. And then Rowing's made some adjustments and changes on that. That's been provided to us. What else am I getting? That. So we have a motion to accept the recommended acceptable use policy from Rowing.
I'll make a motion to accept the acceptable use policy from Rowing.
I will second that. Any discussion? Being none, those in favor of approving the acceptable use policy as recommended by Rowing, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. Next, we have the Assurity electronic delivery agreement.
So what this is Assurity is like Aflac, but it's different. It's got the same type of insurance, accidental, cancer type insurance that Aflac provides. What they're wanting to do is they're just wanting it to be okay that they send their policies to the people they insure, which it's available to any of the county employees. They don't have to take it, of course, but they can get it electronically through this agreement. Ask him.
Good. We have a motion to approve the Assurity electronic delivery agreement.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second to approve the electronic delivery agreement. Any discussion? Being none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. Next, we have conference request. First, we have Roy Mullis, Veteran Service Officer for the annual Service Officer Training in Indianapolis, June 23rd and 24th. We have Teresa Bryant for the Pulaski County Auditor virtual meeting, May 1st, and in person on May the 15th in Plymouth. We have a motion to accept those conference requests.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second to approve both conference requests. Any discussion? Being none, those in favor say aye. Those opposed, same sign. Next, under discussion, we have the fine violation ordinance that Mr. Ayler was working on with us on that. He assures us that he will have something for us at our next meeting that will allow our county officers to also give violations. Next would be V.S. updates. So they have some violations for us to approve, and then a process that we thought was in place to provide information for them to give ordinances.
The height difference here is a little embarrassing. When I'm pulling down the mic and he's going to have to lean down. Does anyone need a progress report or among you?
You have extra copies?
Sure. So we wanted to cover with you some general topics here, key activities since your last meeting. I think it was 3 weeks ago. Upcoming activities as part of that, enforcement procedures, including a request about processing the list of citations or violations, safety concerns, and then also moving violations or speed infractions. So to begin with, your progress report will obviously flesh out in a lot more detail some of the activities since your last meeting. But since that time, we have had a central map executed. Nathan has a copy of that now for your website and has probably already posted that. We had explained to you that there was possibility that Mammoth Durrell, the developer on that project, would want to present a second map. They're not ready to do that at this time, but we will let you know if that occurs in the next week or two. Obviously, before that map was executed, as you all are aware, the road improvements had not been completed at that time, nor was the map executed before hauling started. So as you all were reporting and we were learning on Monday, I think the 31st, we stopped hauling that particular day. So in the meantime, road improvements have happened at 2 of the intersections in Central that Gary requested, as well as some gravel on 500. There's also ongoing gravel that will have to be maintained on 300 and any other gravel roads that may need it as production continues and activity continues. I should say construction, we use production a lot in engineering world, but we also started a log, and I've shared with you already the set of repairs in South requested by Gary, as well as ongoing maintenance there, and then ongoing maintenance requests for Central that are outside of those pre-construction road improvements. We are going to put those into a log that will categorize the type of repair, whether it's ongoing or something that pops up that needs immediate attention. We will do sort of a Google Docs or an Excel spreadsheet that Gary and we can enter entries into that. Your road use agreement has to allow reasonable time for those to be done. The contractor, as you all know, now has an agreement with Town and Country. They will probably be handling all of those. I'm assuming they will, given they've signed a contract with Mammoth. We don't yet have that for the other 3 solar companies. We're still in the early stages with those companies, obviously. But we wanted to let you know that we're going to log those, document the date, document the type of repair, and that sort of thing. And then as that gets updated, we'll be able to print reports to you if you'd like at a given time. And we will also want to potentially enter repairs into that with county authorization. Go ahead.
Just before you get too
Yes.
far, because I'll forget my thought. But
Sure.
on the road use agreements, you mentioned that they do not yet want to do the next one. They had talked about a different road use agreement. And now you've said that it could change. Is it typical that those would be this fluid, that road use agreements will ebb and flow throughout process of construction?
I don't mean the agreement as much as the map, Jenny.
Okay, the map.
So the map we executed was the
Right.
roads that Gary and the Highway Department agreed to.
Yes,
They want some other road usage that has
Right.
not been agreed to. So if they decide to present that for your vote or your input at a
Okay.
later date, you can expect that that'll come before you.
okay. Thank you.
Sure. Enforcement procedures and authority. This is something we've talked about with a couple of you, probably all of you at some point or another in the county, including Gary. So since the last citation set that your attorney handled, we've had some signage issues already. Now, in some cases, it's weather has knocked them over or blown them away. So we've asked them to procure permanent signage because that's going to continue to happen in the next couple of years. So in the meantime, though, we did have on both South project and then on a separate Mayapple project where they're doing piling testing, we had semis block one of the lanes without flaggers. As you know from that road use agreement, they are to follow the Indiana Manual of Control Devices, and it's a long acronym as long as the manual's name, so I'm not going to repeat all that. But so we cited that on a Mayapple project as well as the South project, in addition to missing signage in both South and Central. Rather than wait each time we have a list of these, or even one of them happening in a weekend or a day, we would like to set up process or protocol with all of you where perhaps we write that up the way the attorney has written the first one, and we get approval from somebody in the county that says, yes, send it. That can be one of you. It could be your building inspector. I think in the agreements, you have your building inspector and your highway department are authorized in certain agreements, but your ordinances also allow your building inspector to do like a stop work order or, so we would just like to be able to write it up instantly and get it approved to send out by someone at the county. So it's a county authorized document. And that's one of the things that we wanted to cover with you tonight. Moving on, and we can come back to that if you like. Oh, go ahead.
Jenny, with my interpretation from the original agreement, that there's a delegation of authority, which was approved back in December, I believe.
Yeah.
I thought that gave V.S., delegated V.S. to do.
Yeah, one of the reasons we question that, Don, when we met with the solar companies in the fall and when we were working on the agreements, one of their questions was what happens in the event of delaying us or shutting us down. And the attorney at the time said, well, they will need some sort of authorization from the county. So we've been really cautious about that. Plus, we know we're the third party. So we want to make sure that as part of your process, somebody here says yes. So it's a county authorized individual. And we can certainly make that a regular thing with these citations and violations. We just want to make sure that we're not stepping outside the bounds of designee.
Or opening the county up for any litigation that could pursue if it was acting in.
And then so that was covered under enforcement procedures. We also wanted to talk about two other issues, and we might have to cover some of this in our later meeting, but one of which is safety. We've reported to you 3 different safety incidences that either V.S. has been directly experienced or we believe crew members have experienced with citizens expressing anger. And we want to work out a policy for if we at V.S. have to meet with somebody on site, we're going to request that maybe we have deputy presence with us for those meetings. We don't know what we're always getting into or who's angry about what, but it's definitely a concern for us. So we wanted to express that to you. And then finally, we have had reports the last, really I'd say couple of weeks as people have seen hauling of some of the truck drivers violating what we call moving violations or speed infractions. These are things I'm sure the sheriff has dealt with on a regular basis. We're starting to get those reports through our Pulaski solar compliance email. So we just want you all to know that we can't stop a driver or ticket a driver or, play the part of the police. And I doubt the sheriff wants us to do that because we're not well trained in that sort of work. But it is getting reported regularly to us. Go ahead.
So one thing I want to make mention is we're here to monitor the situations and report back. So as we see violations that may include the sheriff, we're sure to relay that to him. And we continue to monitor what's going on and respond accordingly. So there's times that we will send things on behalf of the county for enforcement, but it's from the county through V.S. So we're simply monitoring as things move forward.
And then finally, the other thing we've had a lot of reports on in the last, I'd say 48 hours, since the weekend, actually, we had some of this. They're starting to do crop dusting and referring to it as dust croppers. But I definitely don't know enough about dust cropping. But anyway, those aircraft fly quite low. And in fact, my husband, who has a pilot's license, has informed me that they're the only exempt aircraft allowed to fly under 1,000 feet. So we have citizens reporting that that is actually happening. I'm sure they're rather loud. I've seen and heard them around Indiana plenty of times. They are fertilizing. That's the activity that's taking place. And we are going to try to communicate with them about not flying low as you're headed to the destinations and the parcels, but also potentially we've had some complaints about that activity occurring on the weekend. So we will see what we can do about that. We just wanted to keep you informed about that because it's not something we recently reported.
Why are they fertilizing the area?
Usually it's site enabling prep work. They get rid of weeds, like the project we're on Jasper County. It's a much smaller project and they do that application on the ground versus air. But it's really to clear out some of that weed vegetation before they take next steps, which will be like pilings that get installed.
You will ask them how to do this.
Yeah, we would like to see how they would respond to that, as well as not flying low in areas where they're not actually fertilizing. I learned today from Jenny that that can affect cattle. So I'm not sure that, you would hope that dust croppers are aware of that in general, but I don't know if they're using someone local or someone who does this specifically for solar projects. So we will definitely them about that. Sure. And then everything else we've included in your progress report. We have a few topics for you.
Just a question on the stop signs, and we
Yeah.
just touched on those, but where are we in? Because I know I talked to Gary and he said typically the commissioners would give approval for that and then it would go to the council.
Yeah, you technically need to have an ordinance presented to you. We've let the attorney know about that, as well as, so Nathan kind of educated us on how Pulaski works on these. Usually you all will get something presented, then you advertise. You have to have a certain amount advertised. I believe it's 2 weeks. It allows the public to give you input, like, you know, we don't want a stop sign there. Yes, we do. We want 12 more, you know, whatever the case is. Then you typically on an ordinance will pass it on first read. I don't know if you all pass all 3 reads in one meeting. I know if all 3 of you said yes, you can, with all 3 of you voting yes, you can pass all 3 reads. And I only know that from my own town council experience. So you should get some sort of ordinance proposal from your attorney.
Okay.
And that's, he'll indicate the 2 stop signs. We were going to advertise for it and then found out that that's the process you guys follow. So we've let him know.
Okay. And I spoke with Sheriff Schramm at the beginning. I mean, out in the central project, I know I sent a video to you of a big truck pulling out and there was a car coming and the truck did not stop. And right behind that comes a school bus.
Yeah.
So because of because we've got big trucks coming about every 20 seconds on that road, if there's a way to expedite that, I'm very concerned about people at that corner. So if we can get increased police or sheriff's patrolling during this
I was gonna say
time.
that's what I would probably recommend, Jenny, is to have police presence. I don't know if statute would allow you to do an emergency stop sign. I'm not sure. I've never done that myself. I just know what ordinances you have to follow your own ordinance and advertising.
Okay.
It's possible you could do one under a state of emergency, but you'd have to look into that with Jacob.
I think that would be worth it. I know when I spoke with somebody from PCL on Saturday, when the truck traffic was on 100, I didn't even indicate it, but he said, we've got an issue with the mammoth trucks rolling through the stop sign. And this was at 500 and 100.
Yeah,
and I said, are they stopping?
Subcontractor on another job.
And he said, no, they are not stopping. So we have 2 different companies and one company is reporting the violations of another company. So if they're doing it, I would say this emergency order probably needs to happen because we're talking heavy equipment.
And 500 and 600 both are not such a long distance that you control or have presence
No, it's
there.
all,
That's 2 miles from State Road 14 where they have to go in and out.
Right.
So I would definitely consider that in the meantime. But yeah, your attorney knows that you need to have an ordinance amended. We're Town of Culver, we amend our ordinances all the time to add a stop sign or a yield sign or whatever the case may be. It's fairly easy to write that ordinance. It's just an amendment to a current one that you have.
And to do an emergency ordinance?
That I don't know. Yeah, I've never done that.
Because when you're talking advertising it 2 weeks out, there's a lot that's going to happen
You could
between now and
potentially
then.
schedule a special meeting if you get your exact dates for your ad lined up and it it means your commissioners have to wait a week or two, then you could schedule a special meeting.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Take care of that, yeah.
There a certain time? School, at AM,
Oh, no, it was PM. It was just this afternoon.
I was gonna say, I could probably tell you because I have
yeah.
a text of it.
Yeah, I texted her as soon as it rolled through there.
3-ish, 30-ish.
Yeah, probably a little closer to 4 maybe
Yeah.
by the time they get out my way, but it followed in that car. It was a close call.
there
Yeah.
there ever been discussion on your past projects to ask or request timeframes? Know that 7:30 is probably a busy time for buses. 3:30 or
Yeah, we haven't had to do that on our other county projects to date. But certainly we could try that, like during specific times, we'd like to have no hauling or no trucks on the road. And I'd want to get with you on the specific time that you see them, because I want to know sort of a time. 20 minutes is all it seems it would take. Yeah. Yeah, I like that idea.
communicate with the school superintendents, find out the exact time.
Yeah.
Or
And in the
approximate
meantime,
time.
you certainly could have some patrolling around that time. They are just rolling right through that stop.
Yes, they
at
are.
602.
Mhm.
It's just very obvious.
Yeah. And if you did that with the other companies that are rolling in, if it's established with this company, then that's just a set time frame
Yeah.
that you're not allowed. So before they ever get going, they know, the same with the flying of the planes, 7 days a week, come on, give these people a break.
They're quite loud.
They are, yeah.
I don't know why,
Okay.
but when I'm driving in a car, my eye wants to look at them instead of the roads.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
First, the emergency ordinance or emergency situation, Jacob would be available for communication tomorrow, said. So we'll ask him about the stop sign ordinance or an emergency for that. If need be, we could call an emergency meeting for safety. Could approve that and move forward on that. Then what else do you have?
That's it.
Well, then to back up a little bit, V.S. giving you permission to, giving you authority, delegation to send violations. So
It would certainly save us from having to wait for the attorney each time.
I don't, you see the violations, we understand what they are. I truly do not foresee us ever saying, do not send that violation. So we could approve each one, but I would think that you notify us, then if you don't hear anything in 24 hours,
Send
be
it.
acceptable.
Yes.
So based upon that, I would make a recommendation to BS draft enforcement letters and violations. You notify the Pulaski County commissioners of that. The commissioners authorize VS to send violations to the proper organizations within 24 hours after notification to the commissioner. Then you, VS, issue the violations or stop work notices necessary. Feel comfortable with that?
Yes.
Mike? So that would be my motion.
Second.
The motion and a second. Any further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
Can I ask
You.
one more? I've
Sure.
got one more question. On the outstanding items under Mammoth activities, there are several things listed here under, road use agreement, drainage repair agreement. Who is the final to sign off? Do commissioners sign off on all of those items?
I believe in some cases you would have to, depending on if, like, we executed a map based on talking to
Mm-hmm.
Ideally, we don't want to have to wait till your meetings if it could potentially create a delay or something of that nature.
Correct.
And in some cases, these companies already have some of those appendix elements in place. So it was decided long before all of us entered this room.
Mhm.
So it kind of depends on the company where they're at.
Okay. Are those agreements though do have to be signed, correct?
So they're assigned in advance of having the appendices, and so the appendices come later on. So you're agreeing to the agreement, and then you add the appendices,
Right.
whether it's the designated roads, what needs to be repaired.
Okay.
So then there was documentation that happened prior to all of us,
Mhm.
what had been done. It is trying to get these amended appendices.
Right. Okay. But those agreements would have been signed at some point, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. And those would be, they're all online, I'm assuming.
We've been able to find some of them. And I'm trying to send links to people. I think there's problems.
Right. Right.
So in some cases, we can download it and just send it as an attachment. I usually send it.
Okay. Should those all be available online though? They should, correct?
That's, yeah, I think that's also,
Well, I know
Is there
somebody
a certain
called,
one that you're
oh
referencing?
gosh, somebody called me just today and they said where, or is it yesterday? Jenny, I think you were on the email.
Central Map, maybe?
It's,
It was
May
this,
not
it
come
was
to
the
me right
map,
now.
I think, that they can download.
okay.
That's the
and
one I
that's
sent a
online.
PDF
I was
for.
able to, access.
And you found that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
on your
Some-
website.
On Saturday, I think when
Okay.
we received email, I couldn't open.
I couldn't either.
I think you said that in your communication. I couldn't open it. But today when Jenny sent it through a PDF, it was Pulaski Online. And I got on there and I was able to open up all the documents. But on Saturday, I couldn't.
It could be that your email addresses are filtering certain types of files. Like PDFs are IT on the IT end that could be happening.
I'm talking about the internet, the website. What I'm
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about, right?
On
for
the
community
Pulaski
might be your
County
website.
That's what
government.
I'm talking.
Yeah, it
I
could
was
be-
using another, I wasn't using a county device to look at
Yeah.
Pulaski Online. It wouldn't come up Saturday, but it did come up Monday, which isn't your issue. I'm just saying
It could have
it's
been
there
a
now.
website.
Okay, okay,
It could be the browser people are using too.
okay.
Like sometimes Chrome will open something that Microsoft Edge won't.
All right. Well, we'll
So-
see if we can't make those easier for people
Yeah,
to get,
we
because
use
I know.
both browsers at our company, which might be why we're able.
Okay, okay.
Also, last company has just started. I think it's Fox Construction is working for them. Is it Fox Construction? Working for
The
them.
subcontractor Fox is definitely doing work for Mammoth. PCL is doing,
Fox is working for Mammoth?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they've been doing like some of the driveways, fencing, et cetera. PCL was the one you saw for Mayapple, and I think some people locally thought the Mayapple trucks were Mammoth and on the wrong road. It just happened to be that they're doing some testing right now on pilings.
And that, sorry, were you
Go
going to say?
ahead.
That is going to continue to be a huge issue because we have companies, two different companies who have two different road use agreements. So how do you on a road say, no Mammoth solar, but Mayapple solar? It's gonna be hard to manage that. Which is another reason why it would have been nice to do one project at a time, to have some type of control and management, but I spent my whole Saturday morning just running down a truck and then trying to get the truck back and
Yeah, and I think a lot of people were thinking Mammoth when it was.
exactly, yeah, it's gonna be an issue moving forward.
Yeah, and I
So-
think I didn't send you guys an email until I learned of it last week. So you may not have even read the email yet, but that was me. Heads up, hey, there's something on 100 North that is not Mammoth, it is this other
Yeah,
test. So it's almost like you can't communicate it quick enough, but
right,
So on Saturday, we received communication forwarded. Jenny did. They were dumping rock, 550. Fox Construction. I went back out there afternoon. Ended.
Yeah, that was part of the list that Gary has sent. Fox has done some of the repairs. I think they have agreements with Fox and also Town and Country. Town and Country, I think, was in the central location doing repairs, and they were in the south. So yeah, I follow what you're saying. They're doing other work out there too, but
Right.
yeah,
Did you address them?
no, we haven't addressed it yet. But yeah,
Planning.
we'll speak with them about it. Yeah, and we also, we didn't mention this earlier, but it is something we've talked with the highway department about. For ongoing maintenance issues, we like to have some metrics in place so that if we enter into that log a certain maintenance issue, like gravel, there's a certain way that Gary and the guys like the gravel put on a road, and Town and Country does it a different way. So we'd like to get some metrics for various types of ongoing maintenance repair work where they're going to meet a standard, a metric, so that our inspector too knows this is acceptable work or this is not acceptable. Gary's been kind enough to go out and actually look at the road improvements as he's approving them, and certainly welcome that, but we want those solar companies to have some sort of standard to work with. And there may be some work on that to get that put in place, but talk to you guys about that.
You had mentioned through communication in the working on specs.
Yes, there's allowed, you all are allowed to hire that independent engineer to do that type of assessment, that type of work, like course adjusting, which is really out of scope for compliance monitoring, but ideal for us to have that so that we can do a better job of monitoring and actually also have something to enforce when we ask for those maintenance issues. So yeah, right, charge that back to solar companies across all four with independent review. And we can certainly do that and write you a scope, or you can hire someone else to do that as well.
Other questions?
You.
Thank you. At this time, we will take public comment. We ask that you please provide your name and residence. We ask that you speak once, and please limit your comments to 2 minutes.
Bill Moyer, Star City, Indiana. A week ago that there was a A.P.C meeting, and the conduct of it left something to be desired. I think that you as the executive board need to take control. Maybe control is the wrong word, but supervise the operation much more. I also want to remind in all these discussions, the last election indicated that the voters of Pulaski County want change. Thank you.
You.
Thank you.
My name's Daryl Goodman, and I just live about a mile north of here. And I'm going to address the A.P.C meeting also. I just want to specifically talk to Don and secondarily to Mike McClure. At the last A.P.C meeting, you know, the vote was for the battery storage moratorium. And there was no quorum to vote on that issue. There have been three alternate appointments made in 2025. And that's kind of been a chronic problem in the past with the A.P.C, that they don't get a quorum up. And that's why 3 people were elected, so that this doesn't happen again. And Don, you said that you wanted to vet the nominees before the commissioners would vote on the alternates. 2 of the alternates did not show up at the meeting. And that's just, I don't understand that. 2 of them didn't show up. One of them was, one of those that didn't show up was appointed by the commissioners. The other was appointed by, I don't know if it was the 4-H or the extension board. And the third one was appointed by the commissioners also, and he recused himself from voting. So I know that that's, Don, you also said in one of the meetings that solar wasn't the only issue in the county while voting to approve the nominees. And I agree with that. I'm not putting you down for that statement. But the 3 alternates that have been elected cannot vote because they're involved in solar, or at least the second one that you nominated, he didn't really say why he recused his vote. But it would be interesting to know what that is. And I just think there needs to be some civic responsibility to show up to the meetings that you've been elected or appointed to, because these are big issues on our county. So thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you.
Ed Cotner, Windermere. This morning, 7:30, at 600 West and 300 South, construction worker for Mammoth blew the stop sign. Go work at Scott Fritz's farm. Almost T-boned my son taking his daughter to school. I suggest you work on that. Oh, in well, it happened.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Motion.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second for adjournment. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. Thank you. I gotta hang around
Thank
here.
you.
Thank you.
Right.
I just got, my husband's had medical. I just. Give us prayer. Perfect. That we're hoping.